Kita I welcome all of you who are here tonight. And kinanas kumitna ang gape toti ota. And tagagwe opinama pigisqueo no ako. And I thank you all for coming to help try, lift our language back up, revitalize our language through these classes. So week 4, we've been already doing 4 classes. So if you are just joining for the first time tonight, I just want to say toao, welcome. I'm happy to see that you are here. I'm happy that you're coming to join and learn. So what I wanted to do tonight, before we actually get into that, kinship is what we're planning to do for week 4 and such, talking about our kinship. But I said at the beginning of every class, I want to call on some people and make sure that we look at our basic introduction. And each, get out of there, my dog. And each week we're going to be just adding another sentence and so on. So in the total of all of them, we'll have 5 different things that we can use to kind of introduce ourselves. So we're on week 4, so I want to start talking about this sentence right here specifically. Oh. My dog and my cat are fighting. Awas, go. Go, Awas. Go over there. So what I want to do now is kind of review the first little sentences that we've been talking about for the first few weeks here. So everybody repeat after me when I say Nitsi ka sun. So that's the one that we would use, saying, mine. Yeah, it was from last week, where I'm gonna give. I wasn't able. I was kind of running busy a little bit today, but I'm gonna send everything to Kristen right after class, and she'll be able to send you everything like the PowerPoint that we're gonna be doing today. So again, everybody say Nitsi Kasun. That's what we would say. For example, Darian Nitsi Kasun. My name is Darian. Everybody say Nitaspi Kasun. Nitaspi Kasun. I'm gonna kind of zoom this in a little bit. Yeah, again, Nitaspi Kasun. So that one's talking about my last name is. So if I was to introduce myself, for example, I'd say Darian Nitsi Kasun, Achkate Nitaspi Kasun. My name's Darian, my last name is Nitaspi Kasun, Achkate. Next, everybody say Kayate Ochinia. Try to add the phonetics here. We can just say Kayate. So again, say Kayate Ochinia. And you put those all together. You say Kayate Ochinia. So that's when we're talking about where we originally come from. So this could be your reserve. This could be, maybe you come from a small town or a different place from where you live right now. Or if you live in the same place that you came from the same place from where you live right now, that's what you would say. So if you, for example, if you are from Regina and you still live in Regina, you would still say, Regina, Kayate Ochinia. For me, I would say Kausas Kayate Ochinia. I am from the Kausas Reserve. So again, if I was to go, sentence by sentence, I'd say Darian Nitsi Kasun, Achkate Nitaspi Kasun, Kausas Kayate Ochinia. My name's Darian. My last name is Achkate. I come from the Kausas First Nation. And the next one that I want to introduce now is Nigi Pe Opagin. So everybody try to say that. Say Nigi Pe Opagin. Again, Nigi Pe Opagin. So that's the one where we're saying I was raised or I grew up. Nigi Pe Opagin. I grew up here. I was raised here. So this is talking about where you grew up, as a child, or where you grew up into being a teenager and maybe you moved away and such, but just talking about I was raised somewhere. Nigi Pe Opagin. So for me, I would say Kausas Nigi Pe Opagin. I was raised on Kausas. So again, if I was to say all of this, if I was to introduce myself using these questions or these answers, I would say, Darian Nitsikasun, Achkate Nitaspikasun, Kausis Kayate Ochinia, Ego Kausis Nigipeopagin. So what I want to do now, I'm going to call on some people to go through these 4 answers with me, and I'm going to help you along the way. So don't be too worried. I want to just hear you guys say stuff here. Let's see. I don't know if Kisik is in here. No, I don't think Kisik is in here. Terry, mate wichahin. If you're too shy, that is okay. I'm not gonna bully you if you're shy. Vincent, mate wichahin. My good friend Dr. Vincent.
Hey, Darian.
Say. So right here, introduce yourself. Say, my name is.
Yeah, my name is Vincent, but Vincent Nitsikatsu.
There we go. Egwa, your last name?
Ziffel Nitaspikasun. I'll try that again.
And say Nitaspikasun.
Okay. Ziffel Nitaspikasun.
Perfect. Egwa, where are you from?
Regina Kayate Ochinia.
There we go. Egwa, where did you grow up?
Okay. And Regina Nike Peo Pekin. Or Pikin.
There we go. Say Nigi.
Nikki.
Peopagin.
Okay. Regina Nike Peopagin.
There we go. Perfect. That was good.
Cool.
Sounded fluent. Perfect. Good job, man. Dr. Vincent, he's the smartest guy I know.
Oh, I don't know. Thanks for that, Terry.
Perfect, man. That was perfect. So we're gonna be practicing this all like every single week that we meet. So you did good though. That was good. Understood you.
Thanks for the help.
Aha, Jasmine. Mate wichahin. Atamskak, introduce yourself to us. Your name.
Jasmine Nitsigasan.
Egwa, your last name?
Valentine Nidaspigasan.
Aha. Egwa, where are you from?
Prince Albert Gayati Ochinia.
Aha. Egwa, where were you raised?
Prince Albert. How do you say that one?
Say Nigi Peopagin.
Nigi Peopikin.
Oh, perfect. That was good. So do you know the Cree word for Prince Albert?
No.
It's Kistapinanik.
Kistapinani.
Yeah, Kistapinanik. That's what we call Prince Albert in Cree.
Oh.
A great meeting place. Kistapinanik. So soon enough, you'll be able to just integrate that word into there, Kistapinanik, Niki Peopagin. Sound real deadly. So it's like you could use at meetings or at, meetings and stuff. You want to just be real cool, deadly, introduce yourself in Cree, then everybody will just be like, oh, it's deadly, man. And then all you have to say after that, that's all I know. I just know how to introduce myself. No, I'm just kidding. No. May and you. Is it you didn't be the one speaking?
May would be the one speaking. Utin's not here tonight.
May, what's your name?
May Mooseman.
Egwa Nisikasun, say that. Nisikasun.
Nitsigasun.
Egwa, your last name?
Egwa Mooseman.
Nitaspikasun.
Nitaspikasun.
And where are you from?
Ochies First Nation, Alberta.
Kayate Ochinia.
Kayate Ochinia.
Egwa, where were you raised?
Ochies First Nation.
Nigi Peopagin.
Nigi Peopikan.
Nigi Peopagin. Ochis, what does that mean? What does that mean to you guys? What does that translate as?
I'm not sure.
It's actually Soto. It's a Soto community. Ochis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like
Ochis,
3/3 Cree and quarter
it's a fly.
Soto.
It's like a housefly.
Housefly.
Yeah, that's what his name was, Ochis. a housefly. In Cree, we say chase, kind of similar, but Ochis is the same thing, a fly. I was talking to the creeper or the soda professor at First Nations University, and they got some people from O'Shea's got a hold of her to go and teach some soda up there because they did their history. They're like, okay, we have some soda in our background. So, how cool! That's deadly all the way from Alberta. How now? I'll ask one more person before we get the rest of this rolling. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that I don't double up on people. I want to make sure everybody has a chance. Oh, Emery's Delaru.
Hello.
What's your name? Say that right here. Your name and then Nitsikasun.
Emrys Nitsikasun.
Egwa, your last name?
Delaru Nitaspikasun.
Hi, Egwa Tante Ochigia. Where are you from?
Pennsylvania, Keate Ochinia.
Pennsylvania. Holy, that's a far ways away. That's cool though. Egwa, where were you raised?
Pennsylvania, Nikki Peopikin.
Yeah, there we go. That was perfect. What made you interested in wanting to learn Cree?
So my family is originally Welsh, and I've been getting into Welsh as well. And there's a phrase in Welsh that means a nation without its language is a nation without its heart. And I thought, if I'm going to live here, I should respect the people, respect the land, and learn the language.
Oh, that's perfect, man. I'm thankful that you're able to join us. That makes me happy, makes my heart warm. So thank you for coming to join us. And you're a good Cree speaker, right?
Thank you. It's much like Welsh, where once you learn the pacing, it's pretty easy. And thank you for hosting
once
this,
you
by the
start to
way.
get the flow of it, then you can kind of just learn, if you just need to hear it all the time. So no, you're deadly Cree speaker, man. Good job.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. All the way from Pennsylvania. That's cool. I've only been to Buffalo, New York. I haven't been that far away. That's cool. So it's good to see that we have people from all over coming to join in and listen. So it's good to see that there's lots of people interested from all over, not only just within Saskatchewan or Alberta, but we also have people tuning in from now, Pennsylvania. So it's interesting to see. So that's what we're going to be doing every single week up until we're done this. We're going to be practicing introducing ourselves. And we only have one more kind of sentence to go through next week, which we'll look at, of course, next week. So we just have these first 4 right here. But after we're done, like next week, when we hit all 5 of these sentences, I'm going to do some stuff with you to review it. And also, we're going to be adding some more stuff in there, which relates to our stuff that we're going to be doing right here. Boom. Wakotoin. Oh, oops. There we go. Wakotoin. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Everybody try say that. Try say Wakotoin. See, Kimberly, Javier, try say that. Wakotoin.
Hi, Wakutuin.
Yeah, Wakotoin. Say Wakotoin.
Wakutuin.
Yeah. Do you know Willis, Javier? I think he's from LA up there. I forget what they call it. He kept on saying
Oh,
he's from LA.
Cold Lake?
No, not Cold Lake. It's somewhere in Saskatchewan. I think it's not La Loche. Might be La
Oh.
Loche. Isla Cross, I think, or somewhere around there.
No,
He's
I
a
don't
Dene
think.
speaker, and he has the same last name, Javier.
Yeah, where I'm from, Cold Lake. It's a Dene
Okay.
reserve. It's a Dene reserve, but our family is mainly the only Cree family on that
I
reserve.
see. Yeah, because Willis, he was in one of my university classes when I was teaching. I taught him, and he's fluent in Dene. It's like his first language, And I was like, why you come to learn Cree? And he's like, because I can't take a Dene class, because you can't take a language class in which you're fluent in,
Yeah.
So then he wanted to kind of learn Cree, but he did good. He did good in Cree. So welcome. That's how you say it. Wakotoin. That's perfect.
Okay.
Let's see. Tal. Mate Try to say that. Wakotoin.
Wakotuin?
Yeah, Wakotoin again.
Wakotuin.
Yeah, perfect. And one more person I'll ask. Haven. Say that with me. Say wakotuin.
Wakotuin.
Again, wakotuin.
Wakotuin.
There we go. Perfect. So what wakotuin means kind of literally is kinship or relations. Wakotuin means kinship and describes anyone who is of relation to yourself. So this could be anybody who you're related to by blood. We have a kind of a different word if you're, adopted, but this one, wakotuin, people are still use. Like I have an adopted brother, he would still be my wakotuin. This could be anybody in your immediate family, but also is used for more distant kin. The word wakotuin actually is a bigger word that's built on from the word wakum, which describes like having some relation to somebody by blood. Wakum. But you can't say wakum by itself because it sounds a little. It's a command in that way. You're telling someone, be related to him, wakum. That's why you'll see it in bigger kinds of sentences or in this kind of word, wakotuin, which literally means being related to one another, being of kin to one another, being of a relation to each other. Wakotuin, that's what it like literally means. But of course, when we translate, it comes out to being kinship or, my relations, my family. This is the word that we use right here in the Hiueun for like any kind of relative. Doesn't matter their connection to you. They could be, your cousin. They could be your uncle. They could be your mom, your dad. They could even be, your nephew, your niece, your son, daughter. You would use this word right here, wakotuin, for any kind of relative. Well, niwagomagan, sorry. Everybody say that. Niwagomagan. Niwagomagan. And you see that waku part is still in that word representing relation, representing kin, my kinship. Niwakomagan. Let's see. Spencer, try say that. Say niwakomagan.
Newakumagan.
Again, say niwakomagan.
Newakumagan.
There we go. Yeah, niwakomagan means my relative. So me and Spencer are cousins, but I think we're like third cousins or second cousins. So that's what I would call Spencer. Niwakomagan, my relative. Niwakomagan. Perfect. Let's see. Jada, say that. Niwakomagan.
Newakomagan.
Again, say niwakomagan.
Newakomagan.
Yeah, niwakomagan.
Newakomagan.
So that just means literally my relative. If you're talking about it, it's my relative, niwakomagan, my relative. I'll ask one more person. Let's see. Oh, whoa, running too far here. I'll ask Nordica. Mate hin, say that. Niwakomagan.
Niwakumagan.
Again, niwakomagan.
Niwakumagan.
There we go. Perfect. So that would be used for anybody that's related to you. Doesn't matter if they're your cousin, like I said, any kind of relation would be niwakomagan, my relative. So you could use this word in a sentence, talking about one of your relatives' names, for example. If I had a cousin named John, I probably do. I have a tremendous amount of cousins. I would say, John isikasu niwakomagan. My relative's name is John. John isikasu niwakomagan. So niwakomagan right there is just showing that, I'm talking about my relative. But we're going to kind of go more in depth now and talk about some more immediate family kinship terms that are within our immediate family. So when we're talking about ourselves, you'll see that I always kind of list Nia. Nia, say that, Nia. Nia just means me or I, talking about ourselves. Nia, me or I. So this is our base point of where we should start. We're starting from ourselves and we're going to go down these different kinds of kinship terms. Everybody say nikawi. Everybody say notawi. Again, say nkawi. Notawi. So nkawi just means my mom or my mother, whereas notawi, of course, my father. So those are two separate terms that we use for those. Nikawi, notawi. So those ones, when you're learning them, can tell them apart pretty good and start to learn them easily. Michael, Larak, Matewi Chahin. Say that. Say Nikawi.
Nikawi.
Say Notawi.
Nawawi.
Natowi.
Nawotowi.
Say Notawi.
Notawi.
Nowi.
Again, say Nikawi.
Nikawi.
Notawi.
Noti. Notawi.
There we go. Perfect. Is that a Kigo sis now? Is that your boy?
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah, so that's what he would call you. He would say Notawi.
What's your name? Alex Nasika.
Chikatan.
That's good. That's perfect. So that's what he would call you, Notawi. That's what he would start to call it. Notawi. Yeah, my dad or my father, Notawi. That's perfect. He said I'm good. And then let's see, Tanisha, Matewicha hidden. Say that with me. Say Nikawi. Much is she sigh? She's too sigh. No, that's okay. Marlene, Matewicha hin. Say that with me. Say Nikawi.
Nakawi.
Notawi.
Notawi.
Again, Nikawi.
Nakawi.
Notawi.
Notawi.
There we go. Perfect. Tanisha, are you gonna say this? Are you ready? Watch.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. Say that. Say Nikawi. Should I say Nikawi?
Yeah. Yeah. Nikawi.
And say Notawi.
Goodness. Nikawi.
There we go. Perfect. That's good. So you'll see in some areas they might say
Nikawi. Notawi.
yeah. Nimama or Nipapa. Some Cree speakers will use that. Down in South Saskatchewan here, we don't really say those. We still use our, our traditional words, you could say, Nikawi, Notawi. Like if you go more up north a little bit, they start to say more Nimama, Nipapa. But we took that from French, of course, like my mama or my papa. Nimama, Papa. Yeah. You'll see some Cree speakers will use those. Nimama for of course, my mother. Nipapa, my father. But in Cree, down here in southern Saskatchewan, I've always heard Nkawi, Notawi. The more north you go, you kind of start hearing those other ones. All right, now everybody say Nistes. Nistes. Again, everybody try to say Nemis. Nemis. So Nestes is our word for like my older brother, your older brother. Nestes, my older brother. Whereas Nemis, the word for my older sister. Nestes, Nemis. So those are two separate words that we have for that. Nestes, older brother. Nemis, older sister. Kayla, A. Matewichahin.
Sorry, couldn't unmute.
No, that's perfect. Say this with me. Say Nkawi.
Nikawi.
Notawi.
Notawi.
Nestes.
Nestes.
Nemis.
Nemis.
There we go. Perfect. That was good.
That was my son.
That was perfect.
I've been learning.
Yeah, that's good. Nestes and Nemis. Those are two separate, of course, my older brother, my older sister. But if we look at the word for my younger sibling, everybody say Nissi Miss. Nissi Miss. For just like if you're talking about a younger brother or younger sister, you would use the same exact word. We don't have separate words like Nistes or Nemis for a younger sibling. If they're younger than you, they just have one word, Nissi Miss. We don't have two separate words. You don't have a word for younger brother or younger sister. If they're younger than you, they just have the one term, Nissi, miss, my younger sibling. Doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl. Nissi, miss, my younger sibling. That kind of jumps into the respect aspect of kinship, is that if you're the youngest sibling of your family, everybody's going to refer to you as Nissi, miss, all your brothers and sisters. You're going to be Nissi, miss to everybody if you're the baby. Whereas if you're the baby of the family, you have to remember to call your older siblings these specific terms, Nistes and Nimis, in regards to respect, having respect for them, Nistes and Nimis. So if you're the youngest siblings, you don't get no respect. You can see that you're just known as one word, Nissi, miss. Like me, I'm the baby of my family. So if we spoke Cree, everybody would call me Nissi, miss. I wouldn't get no special name. I would just be known as Nissi, miss. Now, say that you want to say one of your relatives' names out of these group right here, your mom, your dad, and so on. If you wanted to say one of your relatives' names, you're introducing your relative, you would put your relative's name first, then say this word. Everybody say asikaso. Asikaso. So that just means like his or her name is. And after that, you would put the kinship term, any of the ones above. So for example, if I was talking about my mom, I would say Jackie asikasu nikawi. If I was talking about my father, I would say Murray asikasu notawi. If I was talking about my older brother, I would say Josh asikasu nistes, and so on. All you're doing is putting their name at the beginning, saying asikasu, and then picking the proper kinship term. So I'm going to ask a few people to maybe introduce one of their family members. You don't have to say their real name if you don't want to. You could even just make up a name and pick a kinship term. But it's good to start practicing this stuff. So Juanita, mate wiche hin. What? That's okay.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute for a while.
No, that's fine. So what I want you to try to do is try just introduce, say one of your family members' names in Cree. So like I said, you'd put their name first and then say asikaso.
Okay. Mary Isikasu. Nigawi.
Perfect. Yeah, Mary asikasu gigawi. Gigawi. Your mother's name is Mary. That's perfect. How? Heather, mate wiche hin. Try introduce one of your relatives from the top by name.
Evander Nisimis.
Say Evander Isikaso.
Evander Nisika.
Again, say Isikaso.
Isikason
Nisimis.
Nisimis.
There you go. Perfect. Agua, one more person. Christopher. Mate wiche hin. Try introduce one of your family members by name.
Ronica Isigason. Isigason Nigawi.
Isikaso.
Isigasu Nigawi.
Perfect. There we go. So that's what you would do. Yeah, Isikaso. It kind of sounds, that W makes it sound like you have like sew, like you're sewing something. Isikaso. So that's that change that happens in that word. So when we're introducing ourselves, like when I'm talking about myself, you remember that I say, instead of what's down there, when you're talking about your own information, all of a sudden it becomes, Nitsi Kasun. Nitsi Kasun. My name is. When you're talking about your relative's information, it becomes Asikaso. Asikaso. His or her name is. So those are the immediate family kinship terms. Nikawi, Notawi, Nistes, Namis, Nisimis. So this is how we would introduce our parents. Like I said, we already did that but this is just a little bit more info about that. So like introducing our mom or introducing our dad. Follow the same exact format. But now I want to talk about how would you say where one of your parents are from? You know, my mom is from Kansas, you know, saying my dad is from Kansas. How would I say that in Cree? To say that in Cree, you would put the place from where they are from and say Ochiwia. Everybody say Ochiwia. Again, Ochiwia. And then you can put the kinship term after that to show that you're talking about your dad or your mom. So this is where they come from, you know, their reserve or their town or where they lived before, where they came from. This is where you'll be introducing them. So for example, B, mate wichihin.
Hi.
Tell us where one of your parents are from, either your mom or your dad, using this right here.
Montreal Lake, Ochiwia.
Kikawi or Nikawi or Notawi?
Nikawi.
Again, say Montreal Lake, Ochiwia.
Montreal Lake, Ochiwia.
Nikawi.
Nikawi.
There we go. Perfect. B is one of my students. He's deadly in Cree. His mom speaks really good Cree too. Oh, Leah, right in the studio, eh? That's deadly, man. It looks cool. Oh, good job. Yeah, his mom is a really good Cree speaker. He's a good student. B. Now I'll ask one more person. For example, Sam. Mate wichihin. Tell us where one of your parents are from.
Houses Ochiwa. No, I don't know.
You don't know where they're from?
No, Houses.
Say Kansas Ochiwia.
Houses Ochiwa.
Oh, cows are chewy.
Yeah, and where from? Your mom or your dad? Or both?
Both.
So say that Notawi.
Notawi.
No
Yeah,
tawi.
because I know your dad better.
No
So again, say that. Say Kansas Ochiwia.
Houses Ochiwa.
Notawi.
Notawi.
There we go. Yeah. So that's what you should call your dad. Notawi. My dad,
Notawi.
my father.
tawi.
Notawi. Okay.
So again, there's kind of a difference. Remember when we're introducing where we're from, we end up saying actually Ochinia instead of Ochiwia. So those are the differences that you'll see when you're talking about, you know, your own information compared to somebody else's. I kind of zoomed in on that too much. That sounds changed. Ochinia, I am from. Ochiwia, he or she is from. Ochiwia, talking about in this case one of your relatives. And if you wanted to introduce your parents together, we have that word, but it's kind of a long word. It's that we say nini gihegwak. Now try say that. Try say nini gihegwak. Nini gihegwak. So that word right there just means like my parents. Not putting notawi, nikawi, you're just saying both of them. My parents. Nini gihegwak. And what actually nini gihegwak means literally is like saying the ones who made a home for me. Nini gihegwak. The ones who have made a home for me. Nini gihegwak, my parents. And you'll see that it does change a little bit when you're introducing your parents together. You know, when we're putting into a sentence. So if I was to say my parents' names, for example, I'd say Jackie, Egwa, Murray, Isigasuak, Nini Gihegwak. So it's kind of a bigger, longer version of, you know, introducing them in when you're just talking about one. You know, Jackie Isikasu Nikawi. But if I'm talking about both of my parents, all of a sudden, Jackie, Egwa, Murray, Isigasuak, Nini Gihegwak. So it's kind of a one that we have to practice. That's why next week, week 5, this is one of the questions that we're going to practice. But I just want to make sure that I introduce it right now so that you see the difference between when we're just talking about one, you know, Nikawi, my mom, Jackie Isikasu Nikawi, my mom's name is Jackie. Whereas when we're talking about both of our parents, you know, Jackie Egwa Murray Isigasuak, Nini Gihegwak. My parents' names are Jackie and Murray. and so on. So don't look too much at this. Don't be too scared because we're going to be looking at this specific slide and others more in depth next week. So I want to keep on moving on because I want to show you like the different forms of those kinship terms that we were talking about. Because we're all just talking about my father, my older sister, my older brother, and so on, you know, my younger sibling. It's always talking about mine, you know, my. That's why I have those first sounds like bolded, the NIs and the NOs, because they mean something important. If we look at the different forms, those beginnings are kind of telling us who we're talking about, you know, whose mother is it? When I say Nikawi, Nikawi, I'm saying my mother. If I say Kikawi, Kikawi, I'm saying your mother. If I'm saying Okawia, Okawia, I'm saying his or her mother. So we put different sounds, you know, at the beginning of the word, or sometimes we change the beginning and add a little sound at the end to indicate whose mother we're talking about or whose older brother, and so on. We add different beginnings and endings to show that. Raylin, mate wichahin. Watch. When I say people's name, they're probably just like reaching for the computer, just like fighting with it, trying to find the unmute button. If not, that's okay. Tyler, mate wichahin.
Watch.
Try to say that. Say watch.
What do you want me to say? Sorry, I just dropped in. I was half hour late. I just got.
No, that's okay. You didn't miss much. Say this with me. Say Nikawi.
Nikawi.
Kigawi.
Kikawi.
Okawia.
Okawia.
Again, say Nikawi.
Nikawi.
Kikawi.
Kikawi.
Okawia.
Okawia.
There we go. Perfect. That's good. So that's just the different forms of, you know, kinship terms, like whose mom we're talking about. Nikawi, my mom. Kikawi, your mom. Ogawia, his or her mother. Perfect. Tyler was another one of my students. He's real deadly. People at the urban office. That's it. Other causes people. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Say we're good.
Oh, that's good. I want you to try to say this next one with me, Janine. Say notawi.
Notawi.
Say kotawi.
Kotawi.
Say otawia.
Otawia.
Again, say nikawi.
Nikawi.
Kikawi.
Kikawi.
Ogawia.
Ogawia.
Perfect. That's good. So those little sounds at the beginning, or sometimes they pop up at the end too, show us whose dad or whose mom we're talking about. All within those little sounds. So that's perfect. Oh, Tase, Auntie Sharon, how are you doing?
Very good, my man.
It's good to
I
see
should have
you
said that in
again.
Cree.
Oh, that's good to see you. Those are fellow Causes people, so it's good to see they're tuning in. That was good. Thank you. Amy, mate wichahin. I'll ask one more person to help me. Amy.
Nikawi.
Oh, no, not that one. I don't want you to say that one. Say this, say nistes.
Oh, Nistes.
Kistes.
Kistes.
Ostesa.
Ostesa.
Now say nemis.
Nemis.
Kimis.
Kimis.
Omsa.
Omsa.
Perfect. That's good. So it's all about those beginnings and endings that we're changing on those words to show, you know, like I said, whose older sister or whose mother we're talking about, all within those endings and sometimes the beginnings as well. And one last one, Anna Lee. Mate wichahin. Oh, whoops.
Ani.
Anine, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm telling you one relative.
Yeah, you just say this, say Nissi Miss.
Missy Miss.
Kissy Miss.
Kissy Miss.
Osimsa.
Osimsa.
Hey, where'd it go? Sorry. Oh, oops. Again, say Nissi Miss.
Missy Miss.
Kissy Miss.
Kissy Miss.
Osimsa.
Simsa.
Perfect. That's good. That's deadly. So that's what we're doing when we're talking about, you know, our relatives. put those different words, the beginning sounds of words and sometimes the endings indicate whose relative we're talking about. Those beginnings and those endings, you'll see that they change. So being able to introduce your Wakotuin and knowing the Wakotuin terms, they're important. But the different forms in the previous slide, like we've seen, Nikawi, Kikawi, Okawia, and so on, will help you in different sentences, such as the following. I could ask somebody, Tanse isi kasu Kikawi. What is your mother's name? Just like we've seen up here, Kikawi, meaning your mother. If I'm asking you what your mom's name is, I have to say Kikawi. Tanse isi kasu Kikawi. What's your mom's name? And when you're answering, you'll say your mom's name, of course. Isi kasu Nikawi. Those sounds change because, like we've seen, it changes who we're talking about. Kikawi, your mom. Nikawi, my mom. So when you're answering it, you're going to be switching that to Nikawi. Oh, I'm going to be talking about that kind of towards the end. That's good you asked about that. Amy was asking me what do we say? You know, what words do we kind of use when we're talking about somebody who has passed away? I have something at the end of this that we're going to talk about real quick in regards to that. So that's a good question. But I'll ask, let's see, Chelsea, Mate Wichahin. Tansi si kaso Kikawi.
Am I saying that one or am I answering with?
Yeah, you're answering. Yeah. Tansi si kaso Kikawi.
Betty isi kaso Nikawi.
Perfect. That's good. That's a good job. So yeah, changing that ki to ni. That's probably the most important part on that. Let's see. Hilda. Tansi si kaso Kikawi.
Evelyn Isikasu Nikawi.
There we go. Perfect. Okay, who's your daughter? Is she just iPhone? How? So if I say that, for example, Tanse si kasu Kikawi.
You ready?
No.
Okay, here we go. See Lori.
No, you say it.
Okay, I'll say it first. Lori Isikasu Nikawe. Now you try.
Lori.
Isikasu
Isikasu
Nikawe.
Nikawe.
There we go. Perfect.
Hey, good job.
Ah, that's good. Yeah. So, like if somebody asks me that, Tanse si kasu Kikawi. What is your mom's name? I'll say Jackie si kasu Nikawi. Making sure that I change that ki to ni. That's probably the most important part. Same thing with this other question. I could ask somebody, Tante Ochiwia Kotawi. Where's your father from? Tante Ochiwia Kotawi. Where's your dad from? Tante Ochiwia Kotawi. And the answer, when we answer that, you'll see again that K turns to an N. All of a sudden, when we answer, we say the place. Ochiwia Notawi. So if somebody was to ask me that, Tante Ochiwia Kotawi. Where's your dad from? I would say Kausis Ochiwia Notawi. So for example, right there on the iPhone there, Tante Ochiwia Kotawi. Answer that.
Okay, where's your dad from? So we're gonna say Langford. Osiwia Notawi. You try. Langford. That's where dad's from. Yeah. Osiwia Notawi.
Notawi.
There we go. That's perfect. Good job. That was good.
You. Good job.
Angeline. Matewi Tahin. I hope I said your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Darian.
Aha. Oh, oops. Tante Ochiwia Kotawi.
Singapore Uchiwia Notawi.
Oh, that's deadly. Singapore, eh?
Yes, I'm afraid
We
so.
don't have a Cree word for that. I should look up what. That's good. Yeah, go. That's one more person. Brendan. Mate Wichahin. Brendan si Winagan. Tante Ochiwia Kotawi, Brendan.
Hey, Pipa Ochi Nochiwi Kotawi.
Oh, say Notawi.
Notawi?
Yeah, Notawi. You got to make sure. Kotawi means your dad. Notawi means my dad. You're telling me my dad was from Pai Pot. He's not from Pai Pot. Again, say Paipot, you said, eh?
Yeah.
Paipot Ochiwia.
Paipot Ochiwia.
Notawi.
Notawi.
There we go. Yeah, Paipot Ochiwia Notawi. Deadly. Paipot has lots of good history. They have good Cree speakers out there too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, got lots of good Cree speakers. Do they still speak? Does anybody still speak Assiniboine out there? Or is it kind of gone by now?
Honestly, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, because it's Paipot was a mixed band of mostly Cree, but they also had some Assiniboine, Nakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he got his name actually, Paipot.
Yeah.
That's what his name means. It means like Paipot, hole in the soup. Yeah, hole in the soup, Paipot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind it, but that's a tobacco question, so I can't really say that right now. Perfect, that's good. And now we have other relatives other than just our immediate, your mom, dad, and so on, such as grandparents. Lots of us know that word, kukum or mushum, especially if you're been around First Nations community, or you're just even if not speaking fluently or not speaking at all, living within a First Nation, you probably heard this word more than once, kukum or mushum. So everybody knows those, meaning grandmother and grandfather. But let's look at how these words are written and pronounced when speaking Nihiwe. So for example, everybody say nuhkum, kukum, ukuma. So when we say kukum in English, we're actually saying like your grandmother, kukum. If we want to say my grandmother, that switch of that first sound happens to ni or just an n. Nukum, my grandpa, or my grandma, sorry. My grandmothers and my grandfathers, you just add an 8K to the end of them. Nukumak. My grandmothers. Nimusumak. My grandfathers. And to say our, that's where we start to get, you'll see that we have kukumeno. All of our grandma, like our grandma, including the person listening. And we also have nukuminan, which also means our grandma, but not yours. Nukuminan. Our grandmother, but not yours. That's be talking to somebody, who doesn't have the same grandma as you. Oh, this is our grandmother, but not yours. So you'll see that it starts to get, we have two different forms of our, we have the one that includes the listener, you're including them, and one that you're not including them, you're excluding them. You're saying this is ours, but not yours. So we have those two different forms. Everybody say nimosum, nimosum. Say kimosum. And say omosoma. So everybody probably heard mushum, like mushum, my mushum. But that word mushum is actually, it's more closer to soto. Mushum, mishomish, mishomish. In Cree, we just say nimosum. Nimosum, my grandfather. So those ones are easy enough. Everybody again say nukum. Nimosum. My grandmother, my grandfather. Now we're going to go to great grandparent. I think some of you in here would be a great grandparent. So this is what your great grandchildren would call you. They would say, Nichapan. Everybody say that, Nichapan. Say, Kichapan. Try say, Ochapana. So Nichapan, of course, my great grandparent. Kichapan, your great grandparent. Ochapana, his or her great grandparent. It's all about putting those endings, those beginnings on there. That's what changes who we're talking about. Chapan by itself, you'll hear people just lots of people say just Chapan. My grandparent, my great grandparent. Chapan. Nichapan just like specifically says my great grandparent. And now we have this big long word right here. Try say this one. The first one, try say nitanskotapan.
Can I ask a question?
What's up?
How come they use chapan when they reference to grandchildren?
They use the
Like
same word.
grandchildren would
Yeah,
say-
they use the same word.
So that's the way they're thinking
Yeah.
when they say that. It's like that's their great grandparent coming back, or
Well, it's like chapan could be used for both my great grandparent and my great grandchild. They use it for each other. It's what we call a reciprocal term.
okay.
They both use it for each other. Yeah. So if you have a great grandchild, you would call them nichapan, and vice versa. They would call you nichapan. You use the same exact word for each other.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. That's a good question. What time is it? Oh, we always run out of time, but it's okay. You guys have this. I wanted to get through most of this anyways. Everybody, one more time, try to say nitan skotapan. So that's like my great grandparent, or even anyone beyond that. Usually we use it for, and it comes from a few, like 2 words. There's 2 words in there. And sko is talking about a connection of some sort of you're connected in a way on school. And that chapan or that tapan actually comes from otapan. Like it's used a wagon. Anskotapan. When you put those 2 together, it's like my generational connection. Otapan indicating a wagon is meaning that, they're bringing you along. They're the ones to guide you, to take you along. Anskotapan. So when we put those 2 together, nitanskotapan, it's like literally saying my generational connection. The one that I'm connected to through generations. Anskotapan. Morning boy. You could say Iksave nape, sis morning boy. That's what you're looking for, right? Yeah. Morning boy, yeah, that's how I'd say Iksave nape, sis. So now I'm gonna go kind of through this because we only have 5 minutes left. We have these other kinship terms dealing with, your own children, your son, your daughter, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, and so on. And like I said, right here we say great grandparent, nichapan. But you use the same exact word for your great grandchild, nichapan, the same exact word. It's a reciprocal term. That's what we call it. You use the same word for each other. So if you have a great grandchild, you would call them the same exact terms, and they would call you the same thing, nichapan, both of you. What I wanted to talk about before we get to the end, this is a good little list of what we all kind of supposed to go over, but we'll go over it again next week in the beginning because we'll have lots of time. This is kind of a family tree or a kinship tree, you could say, going from top to bottom, going all the way down to nichapan. But if you look at it, it's kind of like talking about the 7 generations, is because the cycle just starts itself again. You have a nitanskotapan, your great grandparent, nichapan, your great grandparent, and all the way at the end, your great grandchild, for example, would be nichapan. So the cycle just starts again. It's like the 7 generational teachings. What you learn from the past 7 generations just repeats itself, and it's kind of shows itself through this kind of kinship chart, why we use those same terms for each other. The 7 generations, we teach through those, and all the knowledge from the prior 7 generations falls onto you, falls onto us. And we transfer it to, our younger siblings. We transfer it to our children, to our grandchildren, and to our great-grandchildren. We teach throughout the 7 generations. So now when we're talking about somebody who has deceased, that's kind of the questions that I've been getting here real quick. Oh, I can't even get this away real quick. This is the question that I'm talking about. People were asking me. We'll talk about this for the little end of class. When you're speaking about somebody who has passed on, we have like a special ending that we attach to the end of the kinship term. So for example, I could say nukum, my grandmother. If my grandmother had passed on, I would say nukumpan, nukumpan. Again, if nimosum, my grandfather, Nimosumpan, my late grandfather. Nikawi, my mother. Nikawi pan, my late mother. Notawi, my father. Notawi pan, my late father. That ending, that pan or ipan ending, represents that, you know, they're not here anymore, that they passed on. So that's the special ending that you put on the end of that kinship term to indicate that they have passed on when you're speaking about a deceased or akotun. And you'll see that when you're talking about them and their information, if they have passed on, a lot of things change. Not only just that ending on the kinship term, but also sometimes you'll see the whole sentence changes. So for example, like my mushum, he passed away on my dad's side. I didn't really get to know him that well, but his name is Tiger Dolorm. When I want to introduce my grandfather, you know, and I want to talk about him, but he's passed on, I have to follow and talk like this. I have to say, Tiger Dolorm kagitit ki asikasu nimosumpan. My late grandfather's name was Tiger Dolorm. Whereas when we're speaking of a living relative, it just goes Claudia, for example, my grandma, Claudia Achkate asikasu nokum. We just have that little small part. We don't have to do but when you're talking about somebody who's deceased, you'll see that we have this whole sentence going on. Tiger Dolorm kagiti kiasikasu numasumpan. My late grandfather's name was Tiger Dolorm. Whereas talking about somebody living, you know, Claudia isikasu nuchum. My grandmother's name is Claudia. The forms change for the deceased relative and are based on respect for their passing. Everything that's built into the sentence, you know, for my musham, is all based within respect for the ones who passed. It's all dealing with that, like that word kagitit right after his name, Tiger Dolorm kagitit, is kind of like saying as he was called, you know, kagitit, he was known as. Tiger Dolorm kagitit kiasikasu. Tiger Dolorm is what he was called or what he was known as. Numosumpan, my late grandfather. So those are things that you have to do when you're speaking about a deceased relative. You have to add those kinds of things there. And even when you're just saying their name, like for example, if I say my musham's name, I have to put that kagitit after it all the time. I have to say, no, Tiger Dolorm kagitit all the time. Whenever somebody's deceased, you always put kagitit after their name. That's the little thing that you say after the name. Anytime you say their name. Tiger Dolorm kagitit, you know, if I was talking to my great grandpa Isidore Achkate kagitit, you know, Mary Lara kagitit. Anytime I say the name of somebody who's passed on, we always say that kagitit. But that's all. I thank you all for listening. We run through the time just fast, but next week, week 5, we're gonna kind of do a review of this PowerPoint, as well as we're just going to be practicing all together. I'm going to try to give everybody a good chance to introduce themselves week 5, because that's what we're all going to be reviewing, is just kind of introducing ourselves, words like that, as well as we'll look over this document for kinship terms as well, more in depth. Some of the stuff that we weren't able to talk about depth, but for now I want to make sure that you guys just have all these kinship terms, and I gave you the phonetics for them as well on this kinship tree. I have all the phonetics. So week 5, we're going to be talking more about this and just practicing and reviewing, you know, introducing ourselves, but also we're going to be starting to introduce some of our relatives. So that's why it's good that you guys have this document right here. We're all finished. I thank you very much. Thank you guys for coming and joining, you know, taking an hour out of your day to come and learn some Cree. It's good to see lots of people, you know, lots of our own people, but also lots of people from all over, like Pennsylvania, you know, from Alberta, and as well, you know, people, non-Indigenous peoples. It's very nice that you guys come and learn with us, because that shows that you care, you know, and that's the biggest thing. You can, you know, it's nice to know that you guys care about the language and being able to learn it so that you can go out as well and, you know, promote that, you know. Maybe so I learned this in Cree, or I learned that in Cree, you know, I know how to say this in Cree. Maybe it'll kind of branch out and make more people interested in you know, learning the language, and in that way, that's how we're gonna, in the end, you know, revitalize it, or in some areas save it where it's not spoken. So I give many thanks for you guys, everybody. Like I said, taking an hour out of your day to come and learn some Cree. Mga go say, I'll let you guys go. Everybody have a good night. If you have any questions, you can stay back for a little bit, ask some questions. If not, then we'll see each other next week. Aho.